Hello, my lovely horde. So, the Oscars, huh?
Oh, wow!
That was pretty crazy. So, I'm not going to be talking about the Oscars today, but I am going to be talking about some movies. Horror movies, to be exact.
What?
I know. Crazy. Kirsten, talking about horror movies. Who is this person? If you know who I am, and if you've been following me for a while, if you know me or watch any of my streams or videos, you'll know that I'm a pretty big horror fan. I also spend a lot of my time scrolling endlessly through Netflix trying to find a decent horror movie to watch. And although I do sometimes venture into unknown territory or movies that I haven't watched, I do still find myself going back and watching a horror movie I've seen like a million times. Because I am one of those people that really does get pure joy out of watching horror movies, especially ones that I have seen a lot of times. I don't know if that's a mental health thing, I've heard it's a mental health thing, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. I love horror movies, and Netflix has a pretty decent collection of horror movies at the moment, so I thought, why not do a video and let you guys know some of my all-time favourite horror movies that are actually on Netflix right now. So if I like them, maybe you guys will like them, and if you've seen them, great, but if you haven't, here is why I think you should watch them. So first up on my list of Netflix horror movies that are available right now for you to watch is Hannibal. Now Hannibal, although it's kind of got its standalone name there of the character in question, is actually a sequel to the first movie that he's in, Silence of the Lambs, which if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend go watch it. It's a fantastic film. But it's not necessarily one you have to watch first, and here's the reason why. The second film, Hannibal, although it still has Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal, there's a different person playing Clarice. Now Clarice is the FBI agent that sort of goes after Hannibal in the first movie, played by the incredible Jodie Foster, but in the second film she's played by Julianne Moore, which kind of puts it in a different perspective and makes it seem like its own kind of standalone film in a way. So this film is actually the last chapter of Hannibal's story in the quadrilogy of movies, and it takes place in Italy, where Hannibal is working as a museum curator after escaping the FBI in the first movie. Clarice is still on the lookout for Hannibal and is contacted by Mason Verger, who is actually one of Hannibal's previous victims, played incredibly by Gary Oldman.
Fantastic.
Who wants revenge on Hannibal and wants Clarice's help. There's corrupt policemen, lots of juicy gore, and a lot of sexual tension between Hannibal and the FBI agent that's after him. Very much like the TV show, actually.
God forbid we become friendly.
I don't find you that interesting.
If you're a fan of the show or just the characters in general, it's definitely one to watch. Silence of the Lambs is better though. Next up is another weirdly sexual, creepy dude in the movie Creep. Now this is a movie that actually took me a while to watch it. I didn't watch it until about a year ago, and the reason for that is because I was always confused when I saw the cover that it was the other film Creep that takes place in the London Underground, where the girl gets trapped and locked away and she's hunted down by this deformed, failed experiment. No, just me. Please tell me this isn't some creepy fever dream I had. This film does exist, right? But this is the more popular and well-known version of the movie Creep, starring Mark Duplass as Joseph the Creep. Joseph says that he's dying from a brain tumour and he wants Aaron, the videographer, to film his last will and testament so that he can give it to his unborn son so, you know, he can watch it and be like, hey, that's my dad, he's a creepy dude in a wolf mask. But you soon come to realise that all is not as it seems, as we get some really unsettling moments between Joseph and Aaron. So if you're a fan of found footage horror and you want something to keep you on the edge of your seat, keep you guessing, and also maybe keep you a little bit more cautious about contacting and meeting up with people you've met online, then Creep is one for you. Next up is another personal favourite of mine, and it is the movie Insidious. I have seen this film so many times. I love it, including prequels and sequels. Yes, I've seen them all. They tend to vary in quality, but it is a franchise that I just love as a whole. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. The first film is definitely the best, closely followed by the second, although on Netflix apparently there's only the first film and the third film being actually a prequel to the first film. For now, I would probably just stick to the first film. It's definitely the best one. Insidious is a movie about a couple played by Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne who hire Elise, played by the fantastic Lynn Shay. I love her so much, she is adorable. A psychic and her paranormal team who come in to try and investigate what happened to their son, who is now in a coma thanks to a very supernatural, mysterious event that happened in the attic. The film has some great visual effects and some really creepy ambience. The place that all of the ghosts and demons live, called The Further, I know, isn't that just the coolest name for like a creepy paranormal universe, is just so creepy, and yet it is just also so aesthetically pleasing to me. Mwah! Masterpiece of cinema. The ghosts are also super creepy, and although they do tend to use the jump scare sound a little too much for my liking, there are a lot of real, genuine, terrifying jump scares in this movie. I've seen this film so many times and there's still some jump scares that I'm like, oh Jesus! It's very well done. The tension that they build in this film is fantastic. If you want to start a great new franchise that's really going to get your heart pounding, then I highly recommend watching Insidious. And lastly, on my list of Netflix horror movies that are my absolute fave, it has to be Dawn of the Dead, because it's a guilty pleasure of mine. I just love zombies so much. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I love them. So this is actually Zack Snyder's remake of George Romero's original Dawn of the Dead, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. It's another fantastic movie. It's a little bit goofy, but for some reason it's gorier. I don't know if it's the old-timey special effects and makeup and stuff, but it's just way gorier for some reason. Ew. And although Zack Snyder's version does have mixed reviews, I personally really enjoy it, and here is my reason why. It's because they really started to change up the zombie trope, and it had been done before with 28 Days Later, if you consider them as zombies, which I personally do, where they make the zombies fast. And there is just something so creepy about having these things that were supposed to be, you know, brain dead, and they don't know what's going on, and they're just, brains, to making them just chaotic and fast and just crazy and maniacal. It's really terrifying, and it's just really great at creating like a different type of tension. It's more of like a butt clench instead of a, you know, hanging on the edge of your seat kind of tension. It still has some silly moments, very much like the original. I won't get into those, you'll know them when you see them. But it has plenty of gore, lots of frantic and stressful moments, and of course a few characters that you just can't wait to be eaten by a horde of zombies. And there you are, a few of my favourite horror movies that are available on Netflix right now. I know this is a little bit different to what is usually on my channel, but I just love horror so much and I really want to incorporate it more into this channel, whether that's as horror movies. Obviously, I do have my second channel where I do create my own horror stuff, so please go and check that out. I would really appreciate it if you want to see my own creations. But if you want to see me just talk about incredible horror movies that I love, then please stick around, because I want to create more of this stuff and hopefully inspire a few more of you people to watch films that you may not have watched before and, you know, think, hey, that sounds cool, I'll go give that a watch. If you want me to do any other videos on my fave horror movie picks, maybe for Amazon Prime, I believe there's even a few on Disney Plus. I don't know why, it really shocked me. Disney, what happened to you, man? You've changed. Then let me know down in the comments. Also, if you do end up watching these on Netflix, then let me know what you think. And if you have seen them before, then which one is your favourite? Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!